Alright folks, take this as fair warning. If you are a die-hard Volkswagen enthusiast, this is not a video for you. Find a different channel. Turn this video off, go outside, get in your Jetta, drive around, enjoy it. Don't watch this video because I'm not going to sugarcoat this. I'm not going to fanboy about it. This is worse than the 2018 Passat that we drove. We drove that 2018 Passat Execline back in 2018, and we talked about how there were a number of options that were dropped on that vehicle from the previous model year, including things like HomeLink and the analog clock on the inside of the car. Volkswagen was stripping out features and still selling it for the same price. That price, that MSRP for our Execline 2018 with the R-Line and driving assist package was $39,375 Canadian. This 2020 Volkswagen Passat Execline has a base MSRP of $36,495 and $1,315 for the R-Line package, bringing this to $37,810 Canadian. It's less than the 2018 that we drove, but there also is less. Now, Volkswagen says that this is an all-new Passat. What is all new? What is the definition? If I'm looking at an all new whatever it is, whether it's a car or a widget, it should be mostly new. But this 2020 Passat looks a lot like the 2018 that we drove. Okay, the rear end trunk has been updated with the new corporate design language that includes the nameplate of the vehicle along the width of the trunk. The front end's changed a little bit, and with this R-Line we now have an extended piece of chrome trim along the front doors. But most of this vehicle has stayed the same. In fact, the length of this vehicle is just a little bit longer and a little bit taller than that 2018 that we drove. However, the width, ground clearance, wheelbase, front headroom, rear legroom are all the same. The front legroom has actually shrunk by 3 millimeters, but the front shoulder room has grown by 5 millimeters. The rear shoulder room has shrunk by 2 millimeters. Now, another change really is the trunk. You get an extra 20 liters of storage capacity back there, now up to 450 liters. Now, those dimensions don't make it all new. The engine is still that 2-liter TSI engine that we featured in the 2018. On the press release, they said they've bumped up the torque, but it's the same torque numbers that we reported back in 2018. It also still uses the same 6-speed automatic transmission with the only option for front-wheel drive. They discontinued the VR6 in 2019. That's no longer available going into this second generation. But it's the same car. It's still on the new midsize sedan platform that came out in 2012. So Volkswagen says this is all new, but as far as I'm concerned, this is a mild facelift for the existing generation. This is not all new. And the same continues on the inside. Hello, my name is Niall Livesey, and I'm the host of PRN Test Drive. But now, I'm all new Niall Livesey, host of PRN Test Drive. Can you see how ridiculous that is? That's essentially what Volkswagen has done for this model year. They've put lipstick on a pig. And that was the original idea behind this when I was putting together the idea for this video. But it goes more than just putting lipstick on a pig, because they're also stripping out features from that pig. This car has nothing new. There's nothing new about this on the inside here. They've changed the design. Yes, it now has a similar grille in the center here that we saw on the Arteon back when we did it at the end of 2019, and you have very plastic wood that runs along the center and door areas here. The one that we had before had like a, I don't know, brushed aluminium design to it. We still have a 6.33 inch screen here. It's terribly small. I know that the price has come down, but it's a really small screen. It's essentially exactly what we've seen before from Volkswagen. They don't include any of the features that you get with the higher end cars, and I guess it's to be expected, again, based on the price. We're looking at essentially all the same stuff. Same steering wheel, same HVAC controls. The upper console here above my head is all the same. Light switches, window switches, all of it's the same. We still have incandescent light bulbs on the inside here with the exact same sunroof. Nothing about the interior is new. I mean, I guess you could argue that the new changes are less features. They've removed the parking sensors and they've removed the parking assistant that was available on this vehicle. Those are gone. You have just blank buttons everywhere. Everything else is the same. it does have heated front seats. Cool. Driver memory, leather seating, and heated outboard rear seats with vents in the center. But that's everything that we saw on the 2018, and that's pretty much what you get at this price point from other vehicles in this segment. It's not any bigger than any of the other ones. It's certainly not all new, so I'm very curious how they're getting away with using that word on this car. There's so much that is carried over from the previous model year. Again, you look through it, it looks slightly newer, but it's pretty much using all the same stuff. Yes, the gauge cluster has changed slightly, but we still have a teeny tiny, like 2.5-inch screen with less information in there now that they've removed things like the parking assistant. You also can't turn off the electronic stability control. That used to be a button. Sometimes they'd put it in the infotainment system. Now it's on all the time. You cannot turn that off. So, I mean, there's not much to like about this coming from an older model, and there's definitely nothing all new about it. That's my biggest concern, my biggest complaint when it comes to this vehicle. If Volkswagen had just come out and said, hey, it's the 2020 Passat, we know that sales are dwindling quite a bit, and we know that we took a massive hit in Passat sales in 2019 to the point that it really doesn't make sense to sell it. But you know what, guys? There are still some buyers out there, so we'll drop the price a little bit. That's a nice plus. We'll give it a slight refresh. Not bad. But you know what? We're not going to invest a whole lot into it because the future in North America is crossovers. So here's a facelift. It's still a Passat. I'd be a happy camper. But when you say it's all new and it's not, that's misleading. So anyway, let's take this on a road test. We're going to talk about how the engine, transmission, and everything else performs, mostly how it compares to the 2018 that we drove in the winter, because there's not much else new about this car. So let's hit the road. Well, if you're joining me for this part of the video, thank you for sticking with it. If you're one of the people who ducked out early after calling me any number of names, such as a Volkswagen hater or having a bias against this car, whatever it may be, well, I don't know, you're missing out. But those of you who stuck with it, thank you, because we're on the road test now. When we did the 2018 Passat, I had picked up the 2018 Honda Accord at the same time. I picked up the Accord first and then drove it to pick up the Passat and had both of them at the house. We did a showdown. When I had that vehicle, it was instantaneously obvious that it was a nicer ride than the Accord. It rode better, especially over the bumps, felt smoother, much like a car should be. And I'm not saying that the Accord wasn't good, but this just was better. Fast forward to 2 years. Before I can, here's one of the problems I've been having with this car. This car has 6,800 kilometers on it. Now, it did not beep, but it did just give me an error message that the front assist is no longer available. Why is that? I don't know. There's a problem with the car. Now, at first I thought, okay, maybe the sensor is dirty, maybe some bugs had gotten splashed on the front of it. But it did happen about 10 minutes into me picking up this car, not even. And now every single time I drive it, that problem comes up. Without fail. Within the first 3 to 5 minutes, this error comes up saying that the front assist no longer is available. But it doesn't stop there. Throughout my drive, whether it's on, say, the 100-kilometer test loop that I've done or even in-town stuff, other systems will fail. I've had the lane assist fail, and I've had the radar system fail. And when the radar system fails, cruise control stops completely. It doesn't default to regular cruise control, so when this sensor fails, that's it. You have no cruise control anymore. When I first picked it up, it did that. I could not use cruise control. I had to turn the car off, wait for it, turn it back on, and then hope within the first few minutes it didn't crash again, and go from there. This is a new car. 6,700 kilometers on it, and there's problems. It's going back to the dealer. That's not good. But back to what I was saying about the ride. Because if you get through all the problems with the car, then I guess you can worry about the ride. It's fine. Noise levels on this, not so great, especially on the highway. I find that it's very loud. So I guess they've removed some sound deadening, or they're just not putting any in to cut down the cost of this vehicle. And that's, again, the title of this video. That's where this comes down to. They've used the same car, the same chassis, the same platform now for 9 model years, which okay, there's some manufacturers out there that are doing it too, i.e. Ford with the Fusion. That car's been around forever. But at least the Fusion was updated on the inside. They added more. They added a plug-in hybrid to it. You can get more features on that vehicle. Volkswagen, it's easy for me to see with a vehicle like this that they know that the future is dead for sedans in North America. This is been put out to pasture. You want a Passat? I don't know why you would buy this one. I would get a 2018 or older. But if you really want a new one, they still make it. They just are going to keep stripping out features. So this year, like I said, park assist and the park sensors, those are gone. Can they continue to get rid of features? Sure. I mean, I don't know what else you could really strip out where people will start to really complain. But they've gotten rid of the things that I think they feel they could get rid of while still being able to sell some of these vehicles. So maybe some of that enhanced safety tech will be removed. Maybe. I don't know. But for 2021, if they even make a 2021 for the North American market, I just have a feeling it's going to have even less. And they're going to continue that until it gets to the point that maybe only one person buys the Passat in North America. I'm having a tough time with it, guys. I know it sounds really negative. So let's talk about a couple of the positives. As I said, the ride on this is good. It's what you would expect in a sedan. Interior space is fine. It's not the biggest vehicle in the segment, but it gets the job done. I'm comfortable here. Good legroom, good arm room, good headroom. Even with the sunroof, I have no complaints about that. Handling, it's all right. I wouldn't say it's great. It feels like an older vehicle. There's no doubt about it. And performance is fine. And it's a small engine, 2-liter with 174 horsepower, 206 pound-feet of torque. Yeah, it's nothing to get overly excited about. I know a lot of people were disappointed that the VR6 was no longer available, but I have to imagine that sales for that were pretty slow to begin with, so why would they continue selling it? This one makes sense. Off the line, it's okay. Passing people on the highway, it's doable. I still find that the engine is loud. That was one of our complaints in the winter with the 2018, but yeah, most of the engines now in this segment are getting pretty small. The thing this really has going for it is price. I mean, it's less than what you would get from the competition, especially if you go with the comfort line, the entry level. I think it's like $26,000 or $27,000 Canadian. Sure, you're not getting a whole lot for that, but you are getting a new car with a warranty, and that might be important to some people. So you can strip away stuff. I would recommend not getting the R-Line package on this. It just doesn't make any sense. Why would you add $1,300 for something that you could really do on your own if you wanted to? It's not adding anything too unique to it. So you could get the cost down a little bit more, but I don't know. I haven't seen any of these new Passats on the road. I wouldn't be able to tell if I saw one coming towards me because they all look the same. All of these new mid-size sedan platform Passats, they just look identical. The difference really is when you go up the trims, you get the LED daytime running lights, but I haven't seen any of them from the back. That's the easiest thing to note, is that large Passat badge along the trunk. I don't see any of them. That's where we're at right now with the Passat. This has become a vehicle designed to be cheap. Yeah, they've stripped out as much as they can. They will continue stripping it out. They're targeting people who maybe haven't bought a car in the last 10 years, maybe haven't even sat in a car that is newer than 10 years old, because if you're a 2016 or 2017 Passat owner and you're thinking, yeah, maybe it's time to upgrade to the 2020, and you get in this all new one, you're going to be looking for the features that you have in your Execline and say, hey, wait a minute, there's a lot of things missing on this. So why would you buy this? Price. That's about it. That's what this vehicle is now, is how cheap can we make it? How much can we strip out that people will still buy it? And let's target people who probably aren't Volkswagen owners, but always wanted to own one. Because the older ones, they're just better.